Good morning, my friends. Here's looking at you, kid. Hot and delicioso. I don't really speak Italian. I wish I did. I remember my grandparents speaking Italian to each other when they didn't want us to know what they were saying. And of course, we didn't know. And we didn't even care because we never gave it a second thought. And now that I'm now where I am in my life, I would love it if I would have learned some Italian, but I didn't. Okay, with that said, this is Velma Hagar. And I want to talk a little bit about the title of my book, Hidden Treasures in Secret Places. This morning I was thinking about how, there's an old saying that says, no good deed goes unpunished. And the moment you say that about yourself, you just shot yourself in the foot. You just took away the blessing. Because remember, you have the power of life and death in your tongue. And you get what you believe. As a man thinketh, so he is. So when you think like that, that's your reward. So it's really important that you realize what God says about that. No good deed goes unpunished. God says that whatever good thing one man does for another, that he'll do for them. He also says that with whatever measure you measure out to others, it'll be measured back to you. So if you are giving to someone, let's say, you're doing something, and I've had this happen where you've given to somebody and then they end up stealing from you, or you've been really good to them and they end up really, doing you wrong. That happens. It happens. But that doesn't mean no good deed goes unpunished. That means you have 7 times that loss coming back to you if you're operating in God's principles, which I always do. So this is the deal. God says that if the enemy be found out, he must repay 7 times over. So let's say someone stole something from you. We know one thing. It's the enemy's children that does that. That's there. Whether you like to believe in the devil or not, there's an enemy that roams around seeking to whom he may kill and destroy. And maybe you don't believe in him, but I believe in what the word says. And the word says he's there and he's very real. And you can obviously see the enemy operating all the time in this world. He's getting more and more active these days than ever as he brings in people to operate with him. More and more people are going towards the dark side, which is prophesied in the Bible. But we want to stay on the right side, because on the right side, that does not apply. With whatever measure you measure out to somebody, you're going to get it back. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over, God says that he will cause men to give unto your bosom. So other people will be giving you blessings. So this is the deal. With whatever measure you measure out. So if you're measuring out with a teaspoon, you're giving people little bits of stuff with a teaspoon. You're going to still get it back, but you're going to get it measured back to you the same way in teaspoonfuls. 7 times more, really, Or pressed down, shaken together, running over, I should say. So it's going to come back, but it's going to come back in teaspoons. Now you're going to give cupfuls, you're going to get it back in cupfuls. You're going to give bucketfuls, you're going to get it back in bucketfuls. God says with whatever measure you measure out, it will be given back to you. Now this is for good and bad. This is good and bad. There's always an opposite to every positive thing. There's the negative thing. To every up, there's a down. To every over, there's an under. So it's whenever you hear something good like this, whatever good thing you do for others, God will do for you. Remember this, whatever bad thing you do for others, God isn't going to do it, but it will be done. It will be done to you. Sometimes God does it. There's a punishment from God. Ooh, that was not good. There's a punishment from God that is worse than any punishment you can get from a man. I want to be able to straighten right up here. So my book, it helps you to define these things. It helps you to find those little hidden treasures. God says in his word, I will show you the hidden treasures in the secret places. Now remember, you might be walking along and there might be a treasure right at your feet, but if you're not looking for it, you walk right over it. If you're busy staring at the ugly dried bones that are there instead of looking at the treasure that's there, then, that's what you're going to get. In our life, there's a perfect balance of everything. God gives as many beautiful things as there are ugly things. He does not give the ugly things. He says all good things come from God. So the beauty is there, but you have to look at it. If you're busy looking at the ugly stuff in your life, you're going to miss the beautiful stuff. That's how you find the treasures. You look for them. Nobody ever finds them unless they look for them or they are aware of them. You know, I've seen more people blessed and they're busy looking at what they lost instead of what they've got. You know, we've all lost things. You know, this life is about that. It's about death. We all die. They all say, well, so many people died from coronavirus. Well, you know what? How many people die every day of something? We all die of something. We're all dying, every one of us. It's just a matter of when and of what. So it's not a big deal when people die. You know, it isn't like this life is promised forever. You know, it's horrible when you lose someone you love. Absolutely. I've lost my mother, my dad, my husband. Oh my God, losing my husband was horrendous. But he died. We all have to die. One day my kids are going to lose me. And you know, it's just crazy to sit around and whine about what you've lost. I'm telling you, there's a time to grieve, yes. But once you've done the grieving, get on with life. It's okay to reminisce a little bit, but don't sit around wallowing in what you've lost and what you had and what's over with. Forget it. Look at what you do have. Look at what God has blessed you with, your new life, whatever it may be. It's the life God gave you. Enjoy it. Basically, that is what my book is about. And I want to just remind you that just because you did something right once and it went amok, you know, don't stop giving. When you stop giving, you shoot yourself in the foot, because giving is what opens up the blessings of heaven. It's what causes the windows of heaven to open up over your life. Does that make sense? Let's see, I've talked 7 minutes. You know, I've gotten where I take way too long on these lately. I've gotten very wordsy. So I'm going to cut it there. It's a good place to leave it. And to remind you, think about the good things. See the beauty in life. And always, always choose to do what is right, no matter what may appear to have happened to you in the past or what happened to somebody else when they did something right. In due season, you shall have your reward. There, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Don't smoke. Okay, so until next time. This is Velma Hagar, bidding you a blessed day and reminding you, always do what is right. Bye.